ભાઈ રજનીકાંત પટેલ ઈશ્વરને નામે સોગંદ લઉં છું। छोटे से छोटा आदमी हो, बड़े से बड़ा आदमी हो, किसी के लिए कोई नियम के तहत सबके लिए अच्छे से अच्छा काम हो, वो मेरी प्रायोरिटी रहेगी।
भारतीय जनता पार्टी में ही ये पॉसिबल है कि पार्टी के हाईकमांड जो नेतृत्व जिसको सौंपते हैं, कहते हैं, और इतना इजीली स्विच ओवर होना, ये पार्टी भारतीय जनता पार्टी का ही संस्कार है।
Watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. There is a change of guard in the BJP bastion of Gujarat, where the party has a new chief minister at the helm of affairs. In the state, it has ruled for over 25 years. In a surprise move, first-time BJP MLA Bhupendra Patel has been sworn in as the 17th chief minister of Gujarat, the party throwing another political googly just a year ahead of the state elections. Bhupendra Patel is a prominent face from the Patidar community and is a clear pitch to the critical vote bank, which controls 70 to 80 seats in the 182-member Gujarat Assembly and is 1/4 of the BJP's vote share. Remember, in 2017, the anger of the Patel community with the fallout of the GST and the agitation for quota led to the BJP recording a historic low of 99 seats, barely scraping by to retain power in the state. On a larger political front, Gujarat becomes the third BJP-ruled state to witness a change of guard in just a few months and highlights a larger trend. In the case of Karnataka, the BJP replaced Yediyurappa, citing age, and picked Basavaraj Bommai in a move to appease the Lingayat community. Remember, this is a community which flexes its political muscle. For reservation, it has done so. Even the predecessor of Mr. Bommai was from the same community. Even in Uttarakhand, picking 45-year-old Pushkar Singh Dhami is an attempt to bring a new face at the helm to offset anti-incumbency under the wider pitch of brand Narendra Modi. With picking 59-year-old Bhupendra Patel, it seems that same generational shift is being pushed in Gujarat. So is there a wider political strategy to counter anti-incumbency in these BJP-ruled states and hold on to them as the saffron juggernaut tries to expand its presence in new catchment areas, particularly in South and in certain states in Eastern India going forward in 2024? So the big question that I'm asking is this pragmatic politics? Joining me on the show, Dr. Amiben Yagnik is Congress MP, Tom Vadakkan, spokesperson of the BJP. We have Ajay Ummat, he is the group editor of Ahmedabad Mirror, and Nav Gujarat Samay. We'll also be joined by Japan Pathak, he's a senior journalist and political analyst. I'm going to begin with you, Mr. Ummat. The question here is of the choice. Low profile, first time MLA, made the chief minister. What led to the removal of Vijay Rupani? Is this an acceptance by the BJP leadership that there was poor COVID management, or should I say mismanagement, by the chief minister who has gone?
Yeah, as you have rightly pointed out, mismanagement during COVID, and Congress Party, Amiben would say a lot of things about that. But besides COVID mismanagement, in last municipal corporation elections, Gujarat was considered to be a strong bastion of BJP, and the alternate political party is Congress. But this time, Aam Aadmi Party has entered into the fray, and in Surat Municipal Corporation, for the first time, Congress got 0 seats and Aam Aadmi Party got 24 seats. And Aam Aadmi Party has tried to prove that they can be a political option for BJP and Congress Party for Patel community, which, as you have rightly mentioned, is very influential, over 70 to 80 seats. And the Kodalgam, which is considered to be the religious seat of Patel community, from there, Naresh Patel, who is the Supremo, has given a message to Bharatiya Janata Party that if BJP will not make Patel as chief minister in Gujarat in near future, then they have political options open in the form of Aam Aadmi Party. So
But
BJP
Ajay ji,
did
the
not
question
want to
is
take any chance.
that why somebody like Bhupendra Patel, who's a first-time MLA, if it was about appeasing or reaching out to the partidars, then you had a Deputy Chief Minister Nitin Bhai Patel.
Look, Nitin Bhai, as you have said, was blamed for COVID mismanagement because he was not only Deputy Chief Minister but was also Health Minister, and he had lot of political baggage also against him. He is a Patel leader from North Gujarat. They wanted somebody from either from Saurashtra or from Ahmedabad, Central region. So that is the reason. And number one, number two, this man, Bhupendra Patel, belongs to the constituency which Anandiben Patel used to retain from Ghatrodia. And another point is that, he is also part of that Gandhinagar Lok Sabha constituency of Amit Shah. So he was a common choice between Amit Bhai Shah and Anandiben Patel. So in a way, he's a compromise candidate between Anandiben and Amit Bhai. And that will be one of the reasons that Prime Minister has chosen this first-timer MLA. Number one, and number two, that he is also a trustee in Sardar Dham and Umya Patel, and is a Kadwa Patel educated person, and they don't want a mass leader in Gujarat like Yedurappa or Yogi Adityanath. They want
Because the vote is in the name of... Okay. So the vote anyways in Gujarat would be in the name of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Obviously, Vijay Rupani in his last statement said that, in a way we follow cult politics and there is only one place in BJP and that is Narendra Modi.
Absolutely. Japan Pathak, from district panchayat polls to municipal corporations to assembly by polls, all have been won by the BJP. So was this just to usher in some freshness, some energy or nai urja, as the outgoing Chief Minister said?
Yeah, see, this has to be seen a larger horizon. The first change was installation of C.R. Patil as state BJP president. That was the start of shift in Gujarat politics. Then C.R. Patil made his team in a party organization. Then eventually, another sudden surprise, Mr. Bhikhubhai Dalsania was organizational general secretary of Gujarat BJP. He was shifted to Bihar. And he was replaced with Mr. Ratnakar, who had worked previously in Varanasi with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So this is third step now. And ahead of general election, even if there was no COVID, even if there was no Aam Aadmi Party, even if there was not this Naresh Patel who pops up every time ahead of election and says same thing, but it doesn't affect the result in major way. So even if this situation was not there, a party would hold survey 1 year or 1.5 years or 2 years ahead of the election, and party would get some feedbacks that some reject, some refreshment, some fixings are required. And accordingly, this decision has been taken. So I don't blame entirely the COVID mismanagement. If COVID mismanagement was the issue, then all chief minister in India would change. And I think worldwide also so many leaders.
Fine enough.
So
that's a good point that you made, that if that was the case, then every chief minister has been found wanting as far as the COVID management or mismanagement is concerned. Let me bring in the politicians now. Tom Vadakkan, political parties change MLAs to counter anti-incumbency. But a change at the top is usually made when there is a threat of revolt by the legislators. And the BJP, not in one state, but in 3 states in a matter of 2 months, you have gone ahead and done so.
Maria, this is a formula that has been done with proper understanding, calibration of the situation. It is not an individual MLA, it is the head of the government who has to be replaced from time to time, because anti-incumbency is a factor nobody can deny. The factor is, you see, we function on a very different scale. You'd say, is Mr. Rupani bad or the new incumbent is good? That's not the issue. These are like relay races, okay? You pass the baton from one person to the other. If one person has been slow, the other person makes up. So the teammanship is what you need to look at it. Teammanship. Midterm, yes, because this is you have a vision of the Prime Minister. The vision of the Prime Minister is development, development, and development.
But Tom
That has to
Vadakkan,
be
had such a
achieved.
thing
Yeah.
happened in a Congress-ruled state, you would have talked about it in the context of infighting.
Maria, it should be a miracle if it had happened in a Congress-ruled government. It will go into a split or a situation like what happened in what was happening in Chhattisgarh, Punjab. They dare not test the chief minister. I always said that they make chief ministers and they become the kings, and then you have no way you can test them. They become very powerful, and then you dare not
No,
test
but the
them.
question also is that the high command culture that you used to criticize in the context of Congress has come in your party as well. The
This is
diktat
not
is
about
made at the
high-
center and the states are supposed to be implementing it.
Maria, this is not about management, which is the tradition of remote control that is practiced in the Congress party. This is a calibrated decision taken at the highest level, keeping in all
Exactly,
factors.
this is the decision that has
This
been
is
taken
elegant.
at the highest level. So, Amiben
No,
Yagnik, you may criticize the BJP and you will say whatever. The questions that I have asked to Tom Vadakkan is the questions that you would be asking as well. But my point is that here is a smooth operation, that in matter of 24 hours that the BJP has a new chief minister, and you may be looking at temporary narrative, but here is the party sending a message that they are looking at elections, that they are looking at the larger message that they are sending to the vote bank.
Maria, the BJP recently had a Jan Ashirwad Yatra in Gujarat, and all the ministers from the union government and all the BJP leaders all were here, and they understood what the Jan Ashirwad is. And the report that might have gone might have clearly shown that what is on the ground is not at all rosy, or nor is acceptable to the BJP. That is the first thing. That was the report card. They might have gone internally. Second thing, the COVID mismanagement. Forget about vaccination and recovery rate. People talk about that now today in debates in Gujarat. But the mishandling of the COVID, the Gujaratis don't forget. There were no hospitals, despite speaking that it's a Gujarat is a developed state, and so many people losing their life for want of oxygen. Though we have an industrial state, and the oxygen might have been diverted there, we don't know. All these reports and absence of data of the deaths. That is the second point. The third point is that you don't say that within 24 hours, because nothing happens in 24 hours in BJP. This might be going on for 2-3 months after they got all these report cards, because the corona second wave was dealt with very badly. And that is why I think, and also the anti-incumbency situation and everything that went against the past former chief minister. So all this might have gone to the high command in the BJP, and they definitely have taken a decision. But the main factor is that the BJP talks of we don't believe in appeasement, we don't believe in casteism, and look at what they have done. You continuously say that yes, we want to be with the Patels and the Patidars, and so that means you are not for development. You are not talking about the picture where appeasement and casteism. You are trying to put it on other people's head, and you had to do this by way of.
When you have a working president in Hardik Patel, what is the factor that played on your mind or the party high command's mind?
No, we are talking of BJP today. They are now blowing the bugle that, okay, we want a Patel minister and we want a Patidar, and we did not have the reservation at that time when Anandiben Patel was there. And again, we are forgetting that the person who has been brought in is very close to the Anandiben Patel. So again, there is some kind of disgruntling in the BJP. But well, the BJP wins on the face of the Prime Minister. And so we may not go into Amit Shah's faction and Anandiben Patel's faction.
These are reports from within the BJP. Let it be. My question is that they have been able to implement something without anybody knowing about it. My point here is that for the last few months, we have seen issues between the Chief Minister and the Health Minister in the state of Chhattisgarh. There are problems also between Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot in the state of Rajasthan, and this is playing out in full public display. At least that's not happening within the BJP, which also shows that the leadership is very much in control. Here, in the absence of leadership or the larger vacuum, there are problems where the Congress party is not able to resolve the state issues. Will you not accept that?
No. Where is a question of not resolving the problems? See, when we are having a democratic setup within a party, and if there is any disgruntled souls, there are discussions. They are out in the open. The media runs that time and again and all the time. But in the BJP, there is no democracy. Nobody can voice their opinion. They cannot show their disregard for anything. They may not even show that they do not like this kind of a thing. There are several issues.
Okay, so you're talking about internal party democracy, fine enough. So that internal party democracy is playing out in full public display. Respond to that charge, Tom Vadakkan. The point here is that there is no democracy now in the BJP as per the Congress.
Well, that is very what I would call a colored view of the BJP. Amiben is also blaming the Gujarat for mismanagement of the COVID. United States, Britain, these are countries very highly developed and they had problems. This is an epidemic. So to blame a chief minister, that way your chief minister should have all gone off. It is not that. It is, and then you said the report card. See, we have an assessment system by which is more democratic. We take views from different sections of society. We send a message to the Karyakarta. You need not be a dynast. You can become the chief minister even in one term. Amiben knows the inside of the Congress, how long it takes for somebody, and then you are at the mercy of the dynast to decide who will be the chief minister and who will not. They talk about democracy. Democracy is not there in the Congress. Here we have a democracy calibrated, discussions go on and they evaluate and we get the arithmetic right and the chemistry right, and then we select a chief minister. Here what happens is you have a PCC chief who happens to be from a community which Amiben won't answer. And why did you do it? We have answers for everything that you ask, because democratically transparent government is what is run in Gujarat. And we want the Gujarat model.
Okay, 30 seconds quickly to Amiben and then I bring in the experts.
I think we may not go on the dynast part because you have many in your party right now. You have dumped the elders and you have taken their sons and daughters instead. So don't bring that word. But then her man and my man or his man is worse than being a dynast. So let's not get into that. Let's talk about merits and let's talk about democratic procedures. That one thing is there that Gujarat, you bring anyone as the chief minister.
When did merit come into the Congress? When did merit come into the Congress? I mean, this is a very short period of knowledge that I have.
Please be fair.
No, I'm asking you,
it's
very interesting. I've learned many things from you, Amiben, and I've learned it the hard way. I'm asking you, where is the merit? Where is the merit? No, you haven't taught me. You haven't taught me. If I haven't learned anything, that's because you didn't teach me.
Maria, can you please tell this senior person to at least...
He is a former congressman.
No, I don't know about that.
Let me bring. I'm going to come back to both of you in just a bit. Let me bring Ajay Ummat now. Ajay Ummat, we are seeing this transition happen in matter of a few hours, I would say. You may say that the BJP was thinking about it for long, perhaps, yes, but all of us came to know about it only when Vijay Rupani addressed that press conference and he said that I am exiting. The question now is that this is a dark horse that the BJP has chosen, and the BJP leadership has gone for Bhupendra Patel. Very little is known of him, and as I've been speaking to some reporters there on ground, they say that even he was surprised about that his name has come up all of a sudden. The question now is that is the BJP also sending a message of generational shift, and can that be really the case, because he is 59 years old. He is not really the young BJP person here.
You are very right. You know, the dark horse has won the derby in Gujarat. Absolutely correct. But, you know, since last 6 months, this exercise was going on. As Japan has rightly said that, you know, after C.R. Patil has become party president, they were thinking that, you know, let there be an independent survey. And BJP had conducted 3 internal surveys. And as Amiben has said that Jan Ashirwad Yatra, they found that response was very lukewarm to all these yatras, and the survey was saying that, under the leadership of Mr. Vijay Rupani, party cannot get, their desired target. Mr. C.R. Patil says that, they want to win all 182 out of 182 seats, which is again a utopian statement. But they want to break the record of Madhavi Solanki that, 149 seats that Madhavi Solanki had won when he was Chief Minister. So, Mr. Narendra Modi always said that, BJP should get 151 seats. Last time also, Amit Bhai was saying that, BJP will get 155 seats, but, they were out at nervous 99. So, and the basic reason at that point of time also that not only Hardik Patel agitation, there were three agitations going on. One was Hardik Patel's agitation, that was, they were asking for reservation. The other one was, Alpesh Thakur's agitation, and third one was Jignesh Mewani's agitation.
Yes.
And all these three agitations called very dear to Bharatiya Janata Party, and that was the reason that they had to change pace. Even at the time of Keshubhai Patel also, they had to change Keshubhai Patel and they brought Narendra Modi. And at the time, Narendra Modi said that, I have got only 1 year and I have to play one-day match and I don't have time to play five-day match. So, BJP always does this kind of survey before elections because they don't want to take chance in Gujarat or right in Uttar Pradesh.
Okay, Japan Pathak, change of guard 14 months before elections, their immediate challenge is UP Uttarakhand, where they are in power. My point is, can the BJP really offset anti-incumbency against them because this is a state that they have ruled for the last 25 years?
Well, I will put things in perspective. The BJP's victory doesn't seem so difficult in Gujarat, even with Vijay Rupani. If he was the chief minister and if the state could go to election next year, I don't think so. The BJP is so weak in Gujarat or there is so large threat that it could lose the election. The matter here, as Ajay Bhai said, that BJP has set a huge target, 182 seats. That is utopian, as he said. But the BJP wants to get its higher score. And particularly C.R. Patil is very excited about it. That I want, as a party president, I want to ensure highest number of seats for BJP. You see, highest number of seats was gained by BJP in post-2002 riots, the general election that was held post-2002 riots. Now, there was a backdrop of these 2002 riots and therefore the highest number of seats were gained. Last time in 2017, BJP as a ruling party was at its lowest tally, 99.
Yes.
So this time, if you set a huge target and you want to achieve that, then there would be a survey, then there would be so much brainstorming. And I would just mention here that in last June, Bhupendra Yadav, Gujarat BJP in charge, camped here in Gujarat for 3 days and he interviewed almost 30 party leaders on one-to-one basis. And his questionnaires were this, regarding the upcoming election, what is needed to be done? How do you see the ground? What should be the changes? So that survey was done then. Then there was this.
This was largely about the feedback mechanism that the party has to keep on constantly making that assessment. I've really come to the end of this. Japan Pathak, thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Amiben Yagnik, Tom Vadakan and Ajay Umar, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your perspective on this story.